This is tacit incitement. Look, I mean, and these are just some of the statements. Mukesh Sahni, for example, he was asked a question that आपको लगता है वोट चोरी की कोशिश हो रही है. He said, देखिए अगर मैं चाहता हूँ कि तो मेरे कार्यकर्ता किसी कार्यालय में आग लगा दे, वो आग नहीं लगा देंगे. So look, I mean, all these nuances, you know, you could argue that they are just telling their कार्यकर्ताs to be alert, but when you say ईंट से ईंट बजा देंगे, हम चाहते तो आग लगा देंगे, the tone and tenor is not lost on anyone, and no कार्यकर्ता is going to pick up on the nuances that this is.
You know what we've seen from the opposition, Veera, is a systematic attempt at some level to delegitimize India's electoral process, and that is very, very dangerous because, as Ajit Jha mentioned, and Pradeep Gupta mentioned the same thing, if there were lakhs of people whose votes had been stolen or their names had been stricken off, there's so much social media now, forget television, they'd be out on the streets protesting saying, Mera naam kat gaya. That simply didn't happen.
No, I agree with you that the quantum of the allegations that's been made or the language that's used needs to be questioned, but one cannot discount the fact that there is a genuine sense within the opposition that the machinery is being unfair to them, right? So this is about preemptively trying to establish as well. I completely cannot condone the kind of language that's used and, as Padmaja says, incitement to violence, but then the point needs to be made, and I was talking to a Congress leader yesterday, Rahul. Vote chori is something that they want as a brand to stick on to the BJP. It's a political allegation at some level. So the quantum of it may be questioned, maybe.
No, but it sticks only if it is validated by empirical evidence from the ground. If people around them see that votes are being stolen, then it sticks. Otherwise, you're just flinging mud in the hope that it sticks. Because, for example, I'll tell you, one senior Congress leader in the Simhanchal region was telling us that they tried, because they were given instructions from the top, and Tehseen can build on this, to find people whose names had been stricken off. You know, multiple calls happened, senior lawyers were involved, they were instructed, they did these video calls, and their karyakartas on the ground really struggled. They did come up with a few names, but they struggled to come up with en masse names of people whose names had been stricken off. Tehseen, they simply couldn't find those names. Of course, they found the few dozen cases, but that could happen in any electoral. On one occasion, my name got stricken off for some reason or the other. But that's the reality. They couldn't find a mass striking off of names.
Yeah. So there are two ways at looking at it. Even the way the election commissioner responded to the leader of opposition, it seems to be that the umpire is playing on the opposite side. The way the tenor of the election commissioner has been, the way he's taken on the leader of opposition, I found that not very statesman-like himself. However, I do agree with the larger point you made, and also I think the Congress in particular is struggling with some data people who keep giving it the wrong data. They did it with Rafael. They're doing it.
He really doesn't like the data team of the Congress party.
And